Now, up and down the coast, the largest election team on local television with coverage of your vote live.
Right now on your news channel, live at 4, it is election night in America. Voters across the country deciding the balance of power in the House and Senate. Here at home, voters are making their voices heard, deciding on everything from who represents them in Congress to their newest city council members. We have full live team coverage up and down the coast. Good afternoon. Thank you for joining us. I'm Scott Hennessy. We have live team coverage of all the local races that impact you. If you haven't already voted, polls close in just under 4 hours at 8 p.m. But before we get to the election, the first significant storm of the season is hitting us, bringing rain across the central and south coasts. Krista Kirchian is keeping a close eye on this rainy forecast from the First Alert Weather Center. Krista.
Scott, I do have some of those rain totals. That storm not done yet. It is still raining over most of the area right now, but I wanted to point out, like Scott just said, our first significant storm. We got more than 1.5 inches of rain in Santa Barbara so far, more than 1 inch in Santa Ynez, just under 1 inch in Lompoc and San Luis Obispo, and just over 1/2 inch in Santa Maria. But like I said, that storm is still going pretty strong, and we are expecting rain until at least tomorrow morning, and especially during those overnight hours. Here's a look at some of those neighborhoods being hit pretty hard right now. Paso and parts of Atascadero. Anywhere that is shaded in yellow is actually experiencing much more rain, and red indicates a lot of rain. This is over Los Olivos, Santa Ynez, Buellton, and even down in Oxnard. They're getting hit pretty hard right now. However, you'll notice that tomorrow we are expecting a little bit more rain in the morning, and especially during those overnight hours. I'll break it all down in my full forecast. For now, back over to you, Scott.
Beginning our Election Day coverage, polls have closed in several states at this hour, including Georgia, where Raphael Warnock has been locked in a tight race for Senate against Republican challenger Herschel Walker. The results of the midterm elections will determine the balance of power in Congress. Natalie Brand is on Capitol Hill with details about a potentially record-setting election.
Poll workers counted ballots in Philadelphia as voters across Pennsylvania turned out to make their voices heard.
This is a hugely significant opportunity to cast our vote for what we all think is important in life.
Both the candidates for the state's open Senate seat, Democrat John Fetterman and Republican Mehmet Oz, cast their ballots Tuesday in the race that's considered a toss-up.
We want less radicalism and more balance.
It's one of 6 toss-up Senate races. Republicans need to win just one more seat without giving up any to gain control of the U.S. Senate. In New Hampshire, Democratic incumbent Maggie Hassan made a last-minute argument to voters.
I have a record of delivering results that matter to New Hampshire.
She's locked in a close race with Republican challenger Don Bolduc.
The right issues is heating and eating, and that's what people are voting on.
In the closest races, election officials are advising it could take days for the results to be known.
CBS News exit polls show inflation is the top issue for voters across the country, outpacing the issue of abortion in each of the battleground states.
Gas prices, food prices, it's crazy.
Headed into election night, polling indicated the U.S. House was poised to flip to GOP control, which is expected to have a major impact on President Biden's agenda for the rest of his term. Natalie Brand, Capitol Hill.
Here at home, the 24th District congressional race has a pediatric doctor taking on an incumbent with a long political career. News Channel reporter John Palmentary is live. John, this is being closely watched here and across the country.
And we are at a polling place in the Santa Barbara Mesa area, McKinley School. The vote signs are out behind me, and we're covering the 24th Congressional District race throughout this area. As you recall, Salud Carball has held this position since he took over for Lois Capps back in 2017 when he was first elected. For this election, Carbajal, a Democrat and a former county supervisor and a longtime supervisor at that, is hoping to get another 2-year term from voters with a re-election. And in his previous campaigns, he has held off all challengers so far. Dr. Brad Allen is the Republican challenger who says he has years of experience in small business and problem solving without being a career politician. Those are his words. Both appeared on a News Channel debate recently and explained what they thought the country needed at this time and that they could provide.
You know, career politicians in general have only worked in government, so their answer to everything seems to be throw more money at it or more regulations. You know, in my 40 years as a pediatric heart surgeon, I found that that rarely worked in the real world.
I know there's a lot of challenges that our country and the Central Coast is facing right now. Inflation, increased costs for gas, groceries, childcare, housing. I know because my family is experiencing those as well. And I've been working to address those issues.
The candidates talked about a variety of issues ranging from nuclear power, gun safety, student debt relief, and some of the real challenges the country is facing these days. Both have been aggressively campaigning throughout the district, hoping to find those who are undecided voters and also the likely voters to make sure that they are indeed going out and fulfilling their election obligation and casting their ballot. We'll be tracking it for you throughout the night and have an update for you at 4:30 as well. Reporting live in the Santa Barbara Mesa outside of a voting precinct, I'm News Channel reporter John Palmentary.
John, thank you very much. Current Santa Barbara County Supervisor Greg Hart and former County Supervisor Mike Stoker face off in the 37th Assembly District seat in the November general election. News Channel reporter Patricia Martellotti joins us live in Goleta with the latest on this race.
Well, right now I'm here at the Timbers restaurant. This is where Greg Hart's campaign will be later tonight. Mike Stoker will have his campaign party in Santa Barbara. Take a look at this footage. This is both candidates. While I was doing some of their profile interviews earlier in the season, Stoker wants to address homelessness by making mental health a priority. Hart said he's proud to contribute to a growing community, and if elected, both candidates say they'll do all they can to fight for the community.
Supporting law enforcement, supporting parental rights, supporting the taxpayers, supporting small business owners, and supporting smart water and energy policy.
Can create good paying jobs. I look forward to working for all the residents of the Central Coast as your voice in Sacramento and the California State Assembly.
Stoker says he plans to be at the Anchor Rose in a few hours, and we'll be checking in with Greg Hart later today. For now, live in Goleta, I'm News Channel reporter Patricia Martellotti. Let's send it back to you in the studio.
Okay, Patricia, thank you very much. Let's talk more about these two races now with political analyst Jerry Roberts, who joins us over Zoom. He'll be with us throughout the evening. Jerry, let's talk first about this race here between Stoker and Hart. It's difficult for a Republican to gain traction based on the number of Democrats that are registered in the area, but Stoker is someone who has been around and has served in some high-profile roles.
Well, he has. He was a county supervisor back in the 90s, and of course he was an EPA official here on the West Coast in the Trump administration. Unfortunately, I think he's going to be best known for starting the lock 'em up chant at the 2016 Republican convention. As you point out, Scott, I mean, the numbers, it's just hard to defy the laws of arithmetic. The Democrats have about a 20-point registration advantage over Republicans in this district. And it's going to be difficult. You know, Greg has raised a great deal of money. Greg Hart has raised a great deal of money, and Stoker's lagged in that. And, you know, the fact that Mike's been around, I think, is both a strength and a weakness because he's close to getting that awful appellation perennial candidate.
Yeah, right. And you were here with us for the News Channel debate for Congress with Salud Carbajal and Brad Allen. What do you make of that race, Jerry?
Well, Scott, as you know, we heard a lot of policy differences between the two of them about how to attack inflation, on immigration, alternative energy, a large number of other issues. But again, Democrats in this district, 20 points advantage on registration. So, you know, I thought Brad Allen did a good job in articulating the views of his party and from the conservative side. But it's just too much of a reach, I think. Salud's raised over $2 million. Dr. Allen, I think, is around 25,000 or something. So, you know, that tells you something. And I think if Carbajal were to lose this race, you know, we've heard a lot of talk about a red wave. Well, it wouldn't be a red wave; it'd be a red tsunami. So I think that would be a big surprise if anything happens other than his reelection.
All right, Jerry Roberts, we will check back with you throughout the evening. Thank you for your insights as always. Moving up to San Luis Obispo County now, one supervisor's seat is up for grabs in today's election, a pivotal race that will decide the board majority. News Channel's Dave Alley is in San Luis Obispo with a live report for us on this race. Dave.
Scott, the race for San Luis Obispo County District 2 Supervisor is a battle of the Bruces. Not only that, as you mentioned, the winner will determine the political makeup of the brand new board. So all eyes here in San Luis Obispo County will be on this election. The race does feature long-term incumbent Bruce Gibson. He is facing off against challenger Bruce Jones. Now, like all SLO County districts, District 2 has been redrawn and is much different than it was previously. It now includes parts of the North County where there are many more conservative voters than there were in the past configuration. Gibson, who has been reelected comfortably all 4 times he has run for this race, he's in a tough battle against Jones. While the Board of Supervisors is officially a nonpartisan office, each candidate certainly has their own political affiliations and viewpoints. Gibson is a Democrat, Jones a Republican. And after Jimmy Paulding, a Democrat, upset Lynn Compton in District 4 back in June, that means there will be 2 supervisors right now to the left, the other 2 to the right. So this race will swing the majority. Now, I spoke with both candidates earlier today to see how they're feeling as the campaign ends.
We have worked as hard as we possibly can to let people know what's at stake in this election, and so I'm feeling very optimistic, let's say.
Of course I'm excited to get to get through this and see what's shown tonight. I'm fairly confident that I will win, but you don't know until all the votes are counted.
Now, back in the June primary, this was a 4-person race. Gibson placed first, earning just over 40% of the vote, just missing out on winning the seat outright if he had gained more than 50%. Jones was second with 18% of the vote. The other 2 candidates, those were conservative, so if you add up the 3 Republican candidates, it totals more than what Gibson earned. So it appears that this race will be a toss-up and may go right down to the wire. Gibson will be at an election viewing party in Cayucas tonight, where he lives, while Jones will be at the Republican headquarters for San Luis Obispo County in Atascadero. And both told me they expect that this election likely not to be decided tonight, but in the many days that will follow this one. We'll be all over it this evening. Reporting live in San Luis Obispo, I'm News Channel reporter Dave Alley.
Yeah, and that could be the case with many races tonight, Dave, with many of these ballots coming in here today and tomorrow from the mail and the ballot drop boxes as they count them. So we'll continue to follow it, and we will update everyone with the first batch of election results as soon as we get them tonight. Thank you for that report, Dave. Still ahead on your News Channel live at 4, a closer look at the Lompoc mayor race, the rematch between a former city councilman and the current mayor.
A very rainy election day is what we've had. I'll have an updated look at those rain totals after the break.
4 candidates vying for seats on the Goleta City Council and its newly formed districts. We are live with reaction from voters. Back with more of Your Vote. District elections are fairly new in Goleta, and 2 city council districts have contests today. News Channel reporter Tracy Lair joins us live from City Hall. Tracy, there is a drop box right in front there next to the flagpole.
That's right, and despite the on and off rain, people are streaming in to put their ballots in the drop box. One even had them wrapped in something to protect it from the rain. But people are coming and going, and these districts are District 1. It's really close to City Hall, actually, and that has a former mayor and longtime council member Roger Aceves, and he's facing Luz Reyes Martin, a former school board member. Now that's District 1. In District 2, you have the incumbent James Carriaco, and he is a longtime city council member and used to run other people's campaigns, and he's running against a city planning commissioner named Sam Ramirez. They're all out and about trying to get the vote out, but we did talk to a couple voters today. Here's what one of them had to say.
Because I know that this whole system is only going to work if we all cast our ballots. So I thought it would be just important to take some time out of work and make sure that I turn my ballot in.
We also saw some voters taking selfies to prove that they had voted. That seems to be a popular thing to do. Also, they wear their stickers that they get if they go to the paper ballots and get that. That also comes in the mail, so you can put your sticker on. We're going to try to track down all 4 of those candidates and bring you more as we keep with our election coverage here in Goleta. Reporting live in Goleta, I'm News Channel reporter Tracy Lair.
Yeah, everybody loves those stickers. I know I do. Thank you, Tracy. Your News Channel has you covered on this election day. If you still need to vote, we've put together a comprehensive voter guide on our mobile app and website. It includes interviews with candidates in the major local races, and we have you covered at the state and national level. We'll be talking about those races throughout the evening as well, breakdowns of the House and Senate races, and all the California propositions on the ballot. We have important voter resources in Santa Barbara and San Luis Obispo counties. So if you're still undecided, you want some more information, this is a good resource for you. Once the results are posted, you can get those live on our digital platforms. Just head to KEYT.com/voter-guide.
Now, up and down the coast, the largest election team on local television with coverage of your vote live.
Right now on your News Channel live at 4:30, it is election night in America. Voters across the country deciding the balance of power in the House and Senate. Here at home, voters making their voices heard, deciding on everything from who represents them in Congress to their newest city council members. We have full live team coverage up and down the coast. Thanks for being with us here as we continue on your News Channel live at 4:30. I'm Scott Hennessy. We have live team coverage of all the local races that impact you. If you haven't already voted, polls close in about 3.5 hours at 8 p.m. But before we get to the election, the first significant storm of the season is hitting us, bringing rain across the central and south coasts throughout the day. Krista Kirkchin keeping a close eye on the rainy forecast. She is in the First Alert Weather Center with the live storm tracker.
That's right, Scott. I do have that live storm tracker up. A lot of activity here, especially over Gaviota, Santa Ynez, parts of Santa Barbara, Ojai, Cuyama, that one area that's excluded right now, getting a break from that rain. They were hit pretty hard earlier. Santa Maria, Vandenberg, Los Alamos, and Lompoc. Here's a closer look at some of those neighborhoods being hit pretty hard right now. Buellton, Los Olivos, Santa Ynez getting that really nice rainfall right now. Anywhere shaded in yellow is actually getting more rain than just that light rain that we are expecting. Red indicates even heavier rain. So if you are anywhere on these roads, make sure to take it really nice and slow. Here's a look at Montecito here as well. If you are on those roads near Montecito, Summerlin, make sure to take it really nice and slow. Oxnard also seeing some rain out there right now, and that chance for rain actually lingers into tomorrow morning. However, today's the main day where we've actually had pretty good amount of rain. I'll let you know just how much in my full forecast. For now, back over to you, Scott.
Now to your vote, and we will begin with the 24th District Congressional race, where a pediatric doctor is taking on an incumbent with a long political career. News Channel reporter John Palmentary joins us live. John, this is being closely watched here and across the country.
And we are here at a precinct on the Santa Barbara Mesa this afternoon. We've gone to several of them. This one's at McKinley School. And the congressional race for the 24th seat is held by Salud Carbajal. You might recall he's had it for a long time. He first announced his intentions to run to replace Lois Capps back in 2015. And he's, like other races, held up against all challengers. For this election, Carbajal, a Democrat and a former county supervisor dating back to the early 2000s, is hoping to get another 2-year term from voters with the re-election. And in his previous campaign, he indeed held off all other challengers. Dr. Brad Allen is the Republican challenger who said he has years of experience in small business and problem solving without being, in his words, a career politician. Both appeared on a News Channel debate recently and explained what they thought the country needed at this time that they could both provide.
You know, career politicians in general have only worked in government, so their answer to everything seems to be throw more money at it or more regulations. You know, in my 40 years as a pediatric heart surgeon, I found that that rarely worked in the real world.
I know there's a lot of challenges that our country and the Central Coast is facing right now. Inflation, increased costs for gas, groceries, childcare, housing. I know because my family is experiencing those as well. And I've been working to address those issues.
The candidates talked about a variety of issues ranging from nuclear power to gun safety, student debt relief, and some of the real challenges the country is facing these days. And both of them have been aggressive in this district, trying to get the voters to come out who are undecided, and also those who are committed voters to make sure that they do follow through on their election and voting requirement, which is to cast their ballot. And we have seen a lot of people streaming in and out here at this particular precinct here on the Santa Barbara Mesa, and checking with some other places. I've heard it's even busier than some of the precinct workers had expected today, even with the rain. And that's the update from the precincts as well. Reporting live in the Santa Barbara Mesa covering the 24th District race, I'm News Channel reporter John Palmenteri.
Yeah, lots of places to drop off those ballots. Hopefully people are getting out the vote today, John. We have until 8 o'clock. Thank you very much as our team coverage continues. Current Santa Barbara County Supervisor Greg Hart and former County Supervisor Mike Stoker facing off in the 37th Assembly District seat in the November general election. Today, see who's going to go to Sacramento here. News Channel reporter Patricia Martellotti is live in Goleta for us with the latest.
Right now, I'm at the Timbers restaurant. This is where Greg Hart's campaign party will be later tonight. As for Mike Stoker, his will be in Santa Barbara. Take a look at this video. This is profile footage that I took while I was doing their stories earlier this season. Stoker wants to address homelessness by making mental health a priority. Hart said he's proud to continue a growing community. If elected, both candidates say they'll fight for the community.
Supporting law enforcement, supporting parental rights, supporting the taxpayer, supporting small business owners, and supporting smart water and energy policy.
Can create good paying jobs. I look forward to working for all the residents of the Central Coast as your voice in Sacramento and the California State Assembly.
Stoker says he plans to be at the Anchor Rose later tonight, and we'll be checking in with Greg Hart shortly after 8 o'clock. For now, live in Goleta, I'm News Channel reporter Patricia Martellotti. Let's send it back to you in the studio.
Okay, Patricia, thank you very much. Let's now bring in Jerry Roberts, political analyst here over Zoom to talk about these midterm elections. And Jerry, I was just looking at some of the messaging from Mike Stoker on his website. It mirrors much of what you see on a national level from Republicans who are talking about crime, and they're talking about the economy. And these are issues that voters certainly are concerned about. It's just a matter of if it's going to land here and how you see it landing across the country as Republicans are trying to take control of the House of Representatives, and they're hopeful to maybe get the Senate.
Well, Scott, you know, Tip O'Neill famously said all politics is local, which is no longer operative. All politics is now national. Largely perhaps because of the Trump era. But you're absolutely right that Mike is trying to echo some of those same themes. Carbajal however, has always been someone whose brand has been bipartisanship. He's never been a real flag-waving lefty Democrat. And so I think he's had the good sense to talk a lot about a lot of those kitchen table issues, inflation and gas prices and so on, as he's campaigned here. And he's also had the advantage of being able to play Santa Claus and bring a lot of federal money in the form of the large spending bills that the Democrats passed. So I think to a large extent he's been able to brunt that. And as we spoke about earlier, of course, there's just a large Democratic registration edge over Republicans in that district that's also benefiting.
Jerry, as we look at Republicans trying to take back the House, and you see all the different polls that come out, voters are asked questions, and the analysts try to extrapolate as to what might happen. What's your read on that? There's a whole political game that's played as everyone's trying to guess the way that things may go when the polls close and the votes counted.
Yeah, it's been very interesting because, and excuse me, I think I misspoke. I meant to say Greg Hart previously in talking about Stoker. I apologize for that, Scott. It has been, and there's an interesting conspiracy theory among Democratic consultants nationally that Republicans and Republican-leaning polling organizations have been trying to flood the zone with these kind of tilted polls that show that there's a red wave coming. More recently, the Democrats have been pushing back by talking about votes that have already been cast, early votes, in which the Democrats nationally have a large advantage of about 4.5 million votes. So it's astonishing, the extent to which spin goes. But it's even now about polling and so on. So I think we'll just wait for all the votes to be cast and just decide then.
You know, that sounds like a prudent way of approaching it here, Jerry. And when we get the results that come in tonight, that's not going to be the end of it. With the way voting has changed, with so much vote by mail, it may be some amount of time until we can declare winners. But we'll get you the results just as soon as they come in, and we'll continue to check in with you throughout the night. Jerry, thank you very much. As we continue our election coverage now with the Lompoc mayoral race, a rematch between Janelle Osborne and Jim Mosby. News Channel reporter Karen Cruz Orduña is in Lompoc with what both candidates are saying ahead of tonight's race.
Both Janelle Osborne and Jim Mosby last faced off for Lompoc mayor back in 2018. The candidates tell me public safety is their priority. Mosby was a city councilman for 6 years. Osborne, who has been mayor for 6 years, is seeking re-election. Mosby says his time as a city councilman and his background as a local businessman makes him qualified. Osborne says she is qualified because she understands Lompoc's value and potential. Lompoc leaders and the community are dealing with issues like homelessness, crime, and concerns over the cannabis industry in town. Both candidates explain how they would combat those topics.
That's a priority out there. The urban campers, everything that's going on with the, quote, homelessness stuff is a priority. It's something I've been advocating and working on for many years now and helping people to success.
It saddens me that Governor has put a hold on some of the funding that was supposed to come through to help us address that. But that being said, we'll continue to work on improving that situation for those experiencing it and for those that it's impacting.
The two candidates say they will do their best to help all business owners. They believe supporting local businesses is essential. Whoever wins this race will be Lompoc's mayor for the next 2 years. In Lompoc, I'm News Channel reporter Karen Cruz Orduña.
And your news channel has you covered throughout this election day and this campaign season. We have put together a comprehensive voter guide on our mobile app and website. We hope that you've had a chance to look at it if you voted already. If you haven't and you're still undecided, some good information for you there, including interviews with candidates in the major local races, profiles, and questionnaires. We also have you covered at the state and national level with breakdowns of the House and Senate races and the California propositions on the ballot. We've linked to important voter resources in Santa Barbara and San Luis Obispo counties. You'll find it at KEYT.com/voter guide. Still ahead on your news channel live at 4:30, 2 city council seats up for grabs in Santa Maria. A closer look at the races there after the break. Voters in 2 different districts in Santa Maria are choosing their city council member tonight. News Channel reporter Christina Rodriguez is live at Santa Maria City Hall with what to expect in those races.
The Santa Maria City Council candidates I spoke to say they are ready to get to work after Election Day. There are 4 candidates on the ballot for Santa Maria City Council, 2 in District 3 and 2 in District 4. In District 3, it's Gloria Soto and Stephen Funkhauser. Soto, who is already a city councilwoman, says no matter what, she will continue to be an advocate in Santa Maria. Her opponent, Funkhauser, says he is running because he wants change.
Regardless of what happens tonight, I am proud of the work that I've been able to accomplish on the City Council for these last 4 years, and I will continue to be a strong advocate for the issues that are most important to Santa Marians.
I'm not happy with how things are going in our district, and I'm not happy with our current representative of some of the votes that are being made, primarily against law enforcement.
In District 4, Maribel Aguilera Hernandez and Carol Kromitzis are running for a seat on the City Council. Election polls close tonight at 8 p.m. Live in Santa Maria, I'm News Channel reporter Christina Rodriguez.
Christina, thank you very much. Still ahead on your news channel live at 4:30, a first for voters in Carpinteria district elections. We'll hear from the candidates running for District 5 coming up. The rain doesn't seem to be slowing people down from voting in the Carpinteria City Council election. News Channel reporter Mina Wahab gives us a glimpse into the candidates' platforms.
Carpinteria is having district elections for the first time. 3 candidates are in the running for District 5. Greg Carty, Al Clark, and Patrick O'Connor are currently in the running. Each candidate has a different reason for why they are running for district council and what they hope to bring to the table.
We have over 100 acres of open space, not including the salt marsh, not including our beach, and that's something I'm really proud of. But one thing that comes to mind that I'm really kind of shaken up about actually is preserving our agriculture.
So we have clean water, clean air, the breezes are great. It's a wonderful place to live. And so I think that's a special thing that needs preservation.
I've gotten to know quite a bit about, the existing processes around building codes and zoning and community development in general. As an engineer, I think I can bring, decision-making processes and complex problem solving.
Development, agriculture, and ecological preservation are some of the key issues voters will have to think about. There are over 1,500 registered voters in Carpinteria so far. In Carpinteria, I'm News Channel reporter Mina Wahab.